if it's still 0-0 with 15 minutes to go and they score a goal, it is game on, because they can do things in this competition that no one else can, with no rhyme, no reason, no logic. I cannot explain it, but I've seen it with my own eyes on multiple occasions, and it could happen again.
Is there another massive comeback in store?
Marca's saying that he needs it, that Ancelotti needs a comeback. Going all the way back, I saw they're 5-1 to advance to the semifinal of the Champions League. I guess Ancelotti needs that to happen?
Necesita la remontada. That means he needs it for his job. This is a guy that just won the Champions League a year ago.
La Liga last year.
Yeah, needs another historic comeback in order to keep his job. I mean, this is going to be some drama. You're going to be on the call of it.
Yes.
We're going to talk more about this as we play the blame game right now. Let's bring in our man, Phil Kitromilides. Phil, how are you, man? It's good to see you.
Good to be with you guys. Very good indeed. Looking forward to a potential remontada at the Bernabeu on Wednesday night.
See, that was a perfect rolling of the R right there. Is it really a situation where this man has got his job on the line in this match?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, this is Real Madrid, so I think that just needs to be underlined, that this is a club where you will get sacked. At some point, you will get sacked. And Ancelotti knows that. He said, I'm never leaving Real Madrid, but I know one day I won't be here, meaning I've got a contract here. I will never break that contract, but I probably won't have that contract extended at some point. He knows what the score is. He won the Champions League in his first tenure as manager, and he got sacked the next year when he didn't win anything. It happens at Real Madrid. This is Real Madrid. They sacked Vicente del Bosque the day after they won the league in 2003, the day after he got sacked. So this kind of stuff happens with Real Madrid. The thing is, Ancelotti, he does need to continue in the Champions League, and I think if he doesn't win the Champions League and only wins La Liga, there's a good chance he doesn't continue. Does he want to continue, though? That's the thing. I'm beginning to have my doubts whether or not he actually wants to continue. Publicly, he will never come out and say, I want to leave. Publicly, he will never break a contract. But I think we're beginning to see a few instances of him possibly losing a little bit of faith with some of the players. The other day, we saw him shout at Vinny Jr. on the touchline, you better start running, otherwise I'm taking you off. So Vinny Jr. started running and did very well. And then afterwards, Ancelotti was asked about this, and he said, yeah, that's exactly what I told him, and it worked. Whereas previously he might have tried to protect Vinicius, which he's done many, many times. You could see that he wasn't that happy. There is also a little asterisk, which is possibly worth mentioning. He is on trial currently for fiscal fraud, for tax evasion here, which obviously he strenuously denies, but that is something that is ongoing. The prosecution are asking for 5 years nearly in jail and 3.2 million euros to pay back. So that is possibly in the back of his mind. I don't think anyone thinks Ancelotti's going to jail, but maybe it makes him think, maybe this might be coming to the end of my time here in Madrid.
But Phil, let's kind of go through what's happened since they won the Champions League last May against Borussia Dortmund. Obviously, Toni Kroos has left the club. He announced that he was going to leave the club even before that season ended. He was brilliant right the way through. Then they announced the Kylian Mbappe signing, which has really changed the dynamic quite significantly in Madrid for Real. Then Dani Carvajal tears his ACL. They haven't really adequately replaced him. They keep insisting with either Valverde or Lucas Vazquez, and either Militao with another ACL injury. They have been very leaky from a defensive point of view, and they didn't really go out and replace those guys in January. So if we're calling this the blame game, we talked about Ancelotti. Do you think that the issues that Real Madrid have had this season, right now, as we talk, let's be clear that it's not over yet, but as we talk, they're 3-0 down on aggregate to Arsenal in the Champions League. They're 4 points behind Barcelona in La Liga. What would you say is the main reason why?
I think it's a good question. I think those were some very good bullet points that you highlighted there in terms of how the season has unfolded for Real Madrid. And perhaps the most crucial one of all is the first one, Toni Kroos leaving. And I know this has been spoken about a lot, and we've mentioned Toni Kroos leaving and him not being adequately replaced at all. But the squad is unbalanced. This is a really unbalanced squad now. With Toni Kroos gone, Mbappe coming in, it just doesn't work on certain levels of balance. And calmness in the squad. And that's something that Ancelotti is very big on, the word balance. He says it all the time, and there is no balance in this squad. So starting from that point, he's tried to figure out a way to fit Kylian Mbappe into this team, and that hasn't necessarily worked how he would have liked. And then the injuries have been really bad. Crimea River, biggest, most expensive squad in the world, they suffer some injuries. You've got to deal with it. But it is true that they have suffered really big injuries in defence in the similar part of the field. So they have had stuff to deal with. And there is question marks, not necessarily from me, but a lot of Madridistas. I live in Madrid. I speak to people out here on the ground, and people question Carlo Ancelotti's ability to formulate and to innovate tactically and to change games, in-game management, to come up with ideas. I think he's seen as a little bit old school. He's seen as someone who is a father figure to the players, but doesn't have the ability to change matches or to come up with plans unfairly, I might add. I don't think this is true. I think this is untrue, but this is the image that he has. People think that he hasn't been able to formulate a plan with which to attack this season with this incredible squad. So, yeah, it's not gone according to plan. Last season they won the league and they won the Champions League, and then they bought the world's best player in Kylian Mbappe, and we thought they were going to dominate La Liga and perhaps Europe for some time to come, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen this season.
Phil, it's all enough to make you want to go up to the booth and hit your vape pen, I guess. You know, that's what we saw from Ancelotti in this last match. Listen, I'm a father of three, so I know about the blame game. My kids play it all the time with one another. And when it comes to petulance, that's been a problem for this Real Madrid side, whether it's Bellingham cussing out a referee and getting sent off, whether it's the manager himself getting so many yellow cards that he has to sit out a game. We just saw the red card to Mbappe, the one that happened against Arsenal that's going to have them playing with a player suspended in this match that was just kicking the ball away at the end for no reason. I don't know how much of that falls on Ancelotti, but is this just frustration because of the imbalance? Where does this petulance problem come from Real Madrid, and can they solve it?
I think it's possibly, these are all individual players and they all have their individual little things. I think with Vinicius, he plays at 1,000,000 miles an hour. There's a lot of stuff going on with him, gets a lot of abuse from fans. So he's playing at 1,000,000 miles an hour anyway, and this kind of stuff happens. Jude Bellingham is an unbelievable competitor, and maybe he needs to tone it down a little bit. He charges all over the pitch, covers so many meters, runs into challenges, screams at referees, and maybe he needs to bring that down a little bit. And I think Kylian Mbappe was just super frustrated the other day. He was getting niggled, he was getting knocked by the defenders, so he needs to learn how to deal with that as well. But I think this is more a sort of individual thing with the players rather than something to do with Ancelotti.
Now, looking ahead, we have Arsenal's second leg on Wednesday. After all that we've said about Real Madrid, after all the performances that they put in this year that haven't been great, they tend to do this. They pull off these comeback victories. They did it to Bayern Munich last year. They obviously have, we've seen some big-time ones all time. Obviously, Barcelona having it happen to them back-to-back years against Liverpool and against Roma. The famous Remontada was Barcelona coming from behind against PSG from a 4-0 first-leg defeat. What are the realistic chances in your view that this happens again? That Real Madrid do what they do in the Champions League and come from behind and either force extra time or win by 4 clear goals or win on penalties? What chances do you give them?
I give them more chances than you'd give any other team in the history of this competition in this kind of situation. I've been in the stadium. I've been in that stadium for almost all of the famous recent comebacks, and it is indescribable what happens. The only thing I can come close to explaining, it's just a kind of madness that takes over in the stadium. When Real Madrid score the first goal on a comeback, it sparks a level of belief, a level of fear in the opponents. So the players, the Real Madrid players believe it, the fans believe it, and the opponents start to crumble. I've seen some of the best teams in the modern era crumble in that stadium under that pressure. I'm not saying it is going to happen. All I'm saying is Real Madrid need to score a goal in that game. It doesn't have to be early. They can score, if they're still in it, if it's still 0-0 with 15 minutes to go, and they score a goal, it is game on, because they can do things in this competition that no one else can, with no rhyme, no reason, no logic. I cannot explain it, but I've seen it with my own eyes on multiple occasions, and it could happen again.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Arsenal blow a 3-0 lead away from home, we're going to be playing the blame game on Arteta next time around. Phil, thank you so much for the time. Thanks for playing the blame game with us.
Pleasure, guys. Anytime.